All right, I'm the president. Welcome to Generational Blessings. I'm here with my dad, who's 90 years old. He's a military veteran. He's a private pilot, worked for the FAA, and has a Charles Taylor Award. Can you tell them what your Charles Taylor Award is about?
Well, basically, the Charles Taylor Award is an award uh, that was given to anyone who has been an aviation licensed mechanic for 50 years and haven't had any violations during that 50-year time period. And Charles Taylor was the first uh, aircraft mechanic in the United States. He built the engine that went in the Wright brothers' airplane for the first flight that they made.
Wow, I didn't know that. How many people in America have a Charles Taylor Award?
I don't know. It would be a limited number, and it would be anyone who's had their mechanic's license for 50 years with no violation and applied for that award, they could get the award. So it's a limited number of people. I don't know exactly how many people there are, but everyone who has this award, their name is on the wall in the office, in the headquarters office building in Washington, D.C.
Oh, cool. And this is headquarters. So that's the FAA, right?
Federal Aviation Administration headquarters building in
So
Washington, D.C.
so people can go to the headquarters and see your name there with that
Yes, they
award
can.
thing.
Their name is on the wall.
That's cool. That's really cool. And so one of the things I wanted to talk with you today about is how you became a sergeant major in the military. And so what is a sergeant major and why is that significant?
Well, the sergeant major is the highest enlisted rank in the Army, and it takes a little while to get there, to get to that rank.
How long does it typically take?
Well, it all depends. It depends on, if you're on active duty. I wasn't on active duty when I made sergeant major. I was in the reserves. So the reserves is a little bit different from active duty, and it also depends on what kind of unit you're in and what kind of work you're doing.
Okay. All right. So one thing I think is really interesting is the time you went into the military. Can you let them know like when you went into it and some discrimination you faced, how you overcame that, and how you got ended up getting that rank?
Uh, I did, well, let's just start out with my military career. What happened was when I was 17, I dropped out of high school, my last year of high school, and I joined the Air Force. And while I was in the Air Force, I finished my high school education through correspondence.
Hmm.
And I spent 4 years in the Air Force as a mechanic, aircraft mechanic, working on the current military bomber aircraft that were flying at that time. And that was the B-36 bomber and then the B-52.
Hmm.
And in 1957, I got out of the Air Force and for I stayed out for a few months, and then I rejoined and went back in the Air Force, and I stayed for another 6 years.
Hmm.
When I came out of the Air Force, I was an E4 when I came out of the Air Force after that time in service. So I joined the California Air National Guard in Haywood, California, and over the period of the next probably 6 years, I think I picked up two more grades. So I wound up as an E7. I left Hayward and went up to Travis Air Force Base and stayed there for, I think, probably about 3 years. And I picked up another grade, which was E7.
Mm-hmm.
I stayed in E7 at Travis for, I think, somewhere around approximately 3 years. At the time, I think when I left, I had like 19 years service total time, or
Wow.
yeah, well, right at 20. So I stayed out for a while, and I went back and finished up my bachelor's degree, and I think I got in a master's program, which I didn't finish, but I did, I think, about 24 units in that master's program.
So,
Then I left Travis and I joined the Army Guard at let's see, Camp Parks, and I picked up one more rating, and I became an E8, and
what is an E8?
an E8 is a master sergeant.
Okay.
I picked up a master sergeant rating, and I think I stayed at that rate for about a couple of years. And then I decided I wanted to get a commission. So
Okay.
I took all the courses that you needed to take to get the commission.
Mm-hmm.
And I moved up to Second Army headquarters in Sausalito. And I was up there, I think, for roughly around 4 years. And after I was there for about a year, I think a year and a year and a half, I became Sergeant Major.
Okay. Yeah.
And that was the grade I retired with. And I think I had 24 years and 8 months total time when I retired.
Wow.
So it was sort of a matter of maneuvering
Yeah.
myself,
Understanding the system too, right?
yeah, working the system and understanding what I needed to do to get to where I wanted to go.
Okay. Did they have you as a dishwasher at first?
That's what I started out doing in the Air Force.
Mm-hmm.
Back when the military was integrated, it wasn't an overnight change as far as job applications were concerned. You can imagine that if you have a military set up a certain way, overnight you just can't replace these people.
Yeah, exactly.
So they had, when I went in the Air Force, still had these units that had a lot of black uh, enlisted people assigned to the lower echelon of duties, where you were like uh, washing dishes, or you were doing roads and grounds work, or you're doing low level stuff. And it was still there. They still had a lot of people doing that. In fact, the squadron that I was in, all of the KP uh, workers were black.
Mm-hmm.
And some of them had been doing that for, 3 or 4 years.
Mm.
And I knew that was going to be my role if I didn't change that. So I changed that and I got into aircraft maintenance. That's how I got into aircraft maintenance.
Mm.
I went from washing dishes to an aircraft mechanic.
And that's a part of what I wanted to get at is I think that that's really inspiring. And during the time that you were in the military and to become Sergeant Major, how many black people would you say became Sergeant Major during that time?
Well, I got put on the promotion board for E8s and E9s
Hmm.
after I made Sergeant Major.
Hmm.
So I was on that board for about 2 years.
2 years.
And I helped promote a lot of sergeant majors, black people to sergeant major, because I was one of the people that were on the board that were picking people,
S-
for that position, those
So,
positions.
so basically you gave back then. Once you got there, you helped other people get there. That's essentially what you're saying, right?
Yeah, I made sure of that.
Hmm.
I made sure that I did that.
So you gave people an opportunity that normally wouldn't have
Wouldn't
an
have that opportunity.
opportunity.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. So, um, any lessons or anything you want to share with people from your time in the military, your illustrious over 50 years in aviation?
I found that in all of those areas, we were liking.
Mm,
I remember when I was working for the FAA, and the FAA would send us on trips to work assignments. So we had to fly in the cockpit.
hmm.
And sometimes when I wasn't in the cockpit and I was flying as a passenger in the cabin, I would always go to the cockpit door and look to see who was inside.
Okay.
That meant a lot to me. And I remember counting. I'd always count. And as far as I remember, I don't think I ever flew on an aircraft more than 10 times that had a black captain.
Wow.
And I was flying a lot
Mm,
with the FAA.
mm,
So all of these areas, even the job that I was doing, we need to have more people trained to go into those areas. And they need to start at an early age. Right in high school, they need to make a decision which direction they want to go and stick with it. And there are a lot of areas right now that need uh, to have black participation. Uh, we need to have more pilots.
hmm.
We need to have more controllers, aircraft controllers,
Mm.
and we need to have more aviation safety inspectors.
And doesn't it pay well too?
It does. It's a good paying job. And as an example, with a lot of, uh, it has a lot of responsibility. For instance, as a controller, I think the retirement age is 55. They have a mandatory retirement age at 55.
So it's good to start kind of younger then.
So that means you got to start real early.
Yeah.
You need to
Mm,
start real early. You need to make up your mind that that's what you want to do and get started doing the things that you have to do in order to be a controller.
mm.
And it's the same thing about maintenance. If you want to be a mechanic, get started at an early age, as early as you possibly can, or even a pilot, get started at an early age.
Mm.
Because those are jobs that you can't work those jobs as long as you can some other jobs because of the requirements.
Yeah, exactly. Wow. That's good. That's really good. That's really helpful information. And it's really inspiring, how you became a sergeant major, the FAA, making it in aviation. Yeah, I think that's some really good advice to help people.
Well, I always say that if you don't have a plan or a system, then the system has one
One
for
for
you.
you. Yeah.
So you have to have your own system
Mhm.
and you have to lay out your own plan
Mm.
and then work with the plan.
And that's essentially what you did, not only for becoming a sergeant major, but for going to the FAA and how you did your life, is you
Yeah,
had a plan and then you
yeah,
executed that plan.
yeah. You have to, because if you don't, uh, then you become a victim of the system,
Mm.
and the system uses you instead of you using the system.
So to bring this all together, so if you didn't have a plan, let's say, with you being in the military, do you think you would still have just stayed being a dishwasher and would not have made it to where you made it in the military?
More than likely, I would have come up with something else
Hmm.
and substituted something for what I'm doing,
Okay.
what I'm doing now.
Hmm.
But that was easy way for me to go because I was around the stuff. I was around airplanes. I
Yeah.
was on an Air Force base. I was around airplanes, and I did a tour one time out on the ramp and got a chance to walk through some airplanes and look at them. And aside from, I was interested in airplanes when I was going to high school because I
Mm.
remember I used to make model airplanes.
Really? Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I made model airplanes.
Hmm.
And my brother was in the Air Force at the time and he was flying on B-29s.
Hmm.
So that's the thing that originally got me interested in airplanes. And I used to read in the papers, read up stuff as much as I could on airplanes. Then I started making, model airplanes.
Mm. Now, which brother was on that plane that you mentioned?
Woodrow, my older brother.
Woodrow. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember Woodrow. Yeah. All right. Any closing thoughts or anything else you'd like to share?
Yeah, I'm very interested in seeing young people, get involved in aviation. And there's really no programs out there, that are doing that, that are getting young people involved at the rate that there should
That they
be.
should be. Yeah.
There should be more programs out there to help young people get involved.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. I agree. I think it's a good skill to have, knowing how to fly. And you said that it gives a lot of confidence when
It
you
does.
fly solo.
Yeah,
Yeah, because it's all in your hands at that point, right?
yeah. I know this person that's a captain for American Airlines, and he's probably fairly close to retiring.
Hmm.
I think he's been flying over 20 years.
Hmm.
But when he was flying to try to get his license, and he was a young guy struggling, I gave him a key to my airplane and told him to take the airplane and fly it
Hmm.
anytime he wanted to fly it to build up his time. And all he needed to do was put the fuel in it.
Hmm.
I mean, I let him fly the airplane free.
Mm.
And he always remembered that.
Mm.
And now he's flying, he's almost ready to retire as a captain for for American Airlines.
That's great.
And that makes me feel good that I was able to do that
That's
to
good.
help him.
That's good. So yeah, it's a good moral of the story is have a plan, and once you get there, help other people get there as well. Giving back is important, and it does make a big difference, not just for you, but for other people.
It does, yeah.
Yeah. Mm. Okay. Well, thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time.